Over the last couple of years, shaving weight out of my backpack has been a big goal for me, and it's been something that I have really focused on. And I get asked a lot about what are some of the best things I can be doing to shave weight out of my backpack and gear loadout. Now, over the last couple of years, I have put out a bunch of different videos on, just different ways to shave weight out of your backpack. And at the end of this one, I will put a link to a playlist linking all those videos together so you guys can check out some of those. But in today's video, I wanted to talk about what I think overall are the 5 best things that you can be doing right now to help cut weight out of your backpack. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Matt. Welcome to Matty Outdoors. Obviously, we talk a lot about shaving weight out of your backpack, but the primary focus on my channel is getting yourself comfortable out on trail. And to me, shaving weight out of your backpack is a big step towards gaining more comfort. So if you guys have not already, consider subscribing to the channel. It does help out a lot. But like I said, today we are talking about the 5 best things you can be doing right now to cut weight out of your backpack. The first thing we're going to talk about today is spare clothing. And the first tip when it comes to spare clothing is make sure you have a lint roller brush handy to get all the disgusting dog hair off of your clothes that you're going to show off on a YouTube video. But if we can look past the dog hair on my clothes, because I have 2 dogs and they shed like crazy, and it's just a never-ending cycle of vacuuming your floors 3 times a day. One of the biggest things you can be doing to help cut weight out of your backpack is carrying less spare clothing. Now, when I say carry less spare clothing in your backpack, I'm not talking about, ditching layers. Like obviously if you need to bring a puffy jacket and, some thermal base layers to, boost the warmth if you're, dealing with colder overnight temps, stuff like that, obviously bring. I know when a lot of people first start out backpacking, they think that you need to carry a full extra set of clothes and, change your clothes on, say, the 2nd or 3rd day of a backpacking trip. And I think that's just the mentality that we get stuck into with, our modern world we live in where, we change our clothes every single day. But when you're out in the backcountry, nobody's going to care how you smell. I promise you, not a single person out there is going to care if you wear the same clothes day after day after day. And if you can just get yourself over that mental hurdle where, hey, I'm going on a backpacking trip and I'm not going to smell all that great and I'm okay wearing the same clothes day after day after day, you can cut out a lot of weight out of your backpack, but you can also shave a lot of bulk because clothing typically doesn't pack down very small. You can get it small and pack down to a certain extent, but it does eat up a lot of bulk in your backpack and it actually adds quite a bit of weight to your gear loadout. Next up, we're going to talk dry bags a little bit and just cutting out unnecessary redundant dry bags from your backpack and gear loadout and making the switch over to a pack liner. Now here I think this is like a 25 liter outdoor research dry bag. It's your typical roll top, roll it down, clip it. I know a lot of people like carrying dry bags for their clothes and for their food and for their electronics and, anything and everything that they pack in their bag. People love stuffing everything into dry bags. And while that system does work and it will keep your gear dry, for one, it can become pretty expensive. But something that I've found over the years is when you have a lot of items in stuff sacks like this and you try stuffing them all into your backpack, you get a lot of dead space on the side of things and around the edges of things. And you're not really optimizing the space inside of your backpack. And if you eliminate a lot of dry bags and stuff sacks from your kit, your gear is actually going to fit a lot better in your backpack. And the easiest way to eliminate dry bags from your backpack is just simply getting yourself something like a trash compactor bag, or I know a lot of people like these Nylaflume bags and use it as a pack liner. So you'll just take the bag, stuff it inside your backpack, and anything that you wanted to keep dry that you would typically keep inside dry bags, like your quilts and your spare clothing, and your electronic setup, you stick it inside the trash compactor bag or whatever you're using as a pack liner. You roll the top up, and everything inside that trash compactor bag or pack liner inside your pack is going to stay dry. I have hiked through some insane torrential downpours, like literally getting poured on for an entire day, and nothing inside my pack liner got wet, and I wasn't carrying any of that extra weight from unnecessary dry bags inside my pack. Now, as we dive into our 3rd tip from this video, we're going to keep the trash compactor bag out because the next one we're going to talk about is finding ways to make your gear dual purpose. And the more gear you can have that is going to serve more than one purpose, you're going to eliminate redundant gear from your backpack. You're going to help cut weight out of your backpack. Now, for me, specifically going with a trash compactor bag over, say, something that might be a little bit lighter, like a Nylaflume bag, what this has allowed me to do is my trash compactor bag also doubles as my ground sheet. Now, I typically sleep in a hammock, so I don't need a ground sheet that's going to cover the entire length of, you know, the underside of my tarp. For me, underneath my hammock, all I really need is something that's big enough that I can put my pack on top of, you know, maybe put my shoes on top of, that kind of thing. But where I have the advantage with this trash compactor bag is this is big enough that I can actually fit my pack inside of it. So if I have some crazy windy, rainy night where the rain is kind of whipping in sideways, I can put my pack, and anything that would typically go underneath my hammock can go inside this trash compactor bag. I just roll the top up and everything is going to be guaranteed staying dry overnight. So by carrying a trash compactor bag with me as my pack liner and as my ground sheet, I've eliminated, you know, carrying two separate pieces of gear and shaved myself a little bit of weight that way. The fourth one is going to cut weight out of your backpack, but it's also going to add comfort overall to your sleep experience out in the backcountry. And that's making the switch from a traditional sleeping bag to using a top quilt for sleeping. You have no zipper all the way up the back. It's completely wide open. The advantage of this is as you're laying on, say, your sleeping pad, or if you're in a hammock, you're, you know, laying in your hammock, you've got an underquilt underneath you. If you've got a sleeping bag and you're laying on that insulation, you're compressing it and you're pretty much rendering it useless. You're really getting no insulative value from any of the material that's underneath you. So eliminating it altogether, you're shaving weight. Now, I also mentioned going to a quilt is going to boost your overall comfort when it comes to your sleeping experience. Now, with a quilt over a sleeping bag, it is a lot easier to vent a top quilt. Now, when I'm talking about venting, you know, I'm sure we've all been there where, you know, you're curled up at night and your sleeping bag or whatever you're using is just a little bit too warm for the overnight temperatures that you're dealing with, which isn't always a bad thing, especially if you've got a top quilt, because, you know, you can easily just fire your arm out the side. Or a lot of times, if I'm in my hammock, I will pull one leg completely out of the quilt and have it completely out the side. It helps me to ventilate and regulate my body temperature so I am not overheating overnight. I was using an 800 fill power down, 20-degree mummy sleeping bag, and I made the switch to an 800 fill power down, 20-degree top quilt, and I saved myself about 1.2 pounds out of my backpacking gear loadout. So the weight savings alone, going from a sleeping bag to a top quilt, can be pretty significant, and it's also going to eat up a lot less space inside your pack. Now, tip number 5 is definitely my favorite thing to suggest to people when they start talking about going lighter weight with their backpacking gear loadout, and that is ditching Nalgene bottles and making the switch to disposable bottles. The weight of a Nalgene bottle is, you know, about 7 to 8 ounces. It carries a liter of water. You know, you find them in every single outdoor store. They look pretty rad when you cover them with stickers. You know, I personally, I drink out of Nalgene's at home all the time. But when it comes to backpacking trips, I haven't carried Nalgene bottles in years. I exclusively carry disposable bottles, usually, you know, the 1 liter smart bottles. But I also do like carrying the little wider mouth Gatorade bottles. I like having about 1.7 liters water carrying capacity. Throughout the day, I'll typically, you know, just fill up either, you know, my 700 ml Gatorade bottle or a 700 ml Smart bottle, and I'll keep a 1 liter Smart bottle just to have a little bit of extra water around camp. The weight of these two bottles here in particular, obviously, you know, without water inside of them, I've got water in this one because I'm actually getting packed up for a backpacking trip as we speak. The weight of these two bottles here is less than 1/3 the weight of a single Nalgene bottle, and it's pretty significant weight savings for a piece of gear that is ridiculously cheap. You know, you can get yourself a 1 liter Smart bottle for about $1.50 to $2. It comes with a complimentary liter of water, or, you know, if you like something fancy, a little bit more flavorful for you out there on trail, you can grab yourself a Gatorade, you know, for the same kind of thing, $2.50, about $3. This Smart bottle here, as you can tell, you know, it's far from brand new. I'm pretty sure this bottle I've had for the last like 3 to 4 years. This has been a ton of different places. You know, it's got a couple dents on it and scratches and whatnot. When it comes to these disposable bottles, I think they're a absolute no-brainer when it comes to making the switch and ditching Nalgene bottles and heavier hard plastic water bottles and just carrying some of these. You know, it's going to save you a bunch of weight out of your backpack. They're going to carry water just the same as a Nalgene, and they're really cheap. To me, it's a no-brainer. Like I said at the start of this video, I was going to put a link to a playlist that I've done on weight-saving backpacking tips, and you'll find that right here. So when you guys are done with this video, if you enjoyed it, find a video in that playlist. I'm sure you'll find some more information in there valuable. As always, guys, I am Matty. Thank you so dang much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.